5,000 years ago, the concept of a nation-state did not exist. Instead, humanity was scattered across small nomadic tribes, living off seasonal rainfall and wild game. Around 5000 BC, that rainfall stopped. Over a few centuries, the predictable summer rains failed, and the lush savanna across Northeast Africa dried up. This presented an immediate threat of extinction. With their hunting grounds vanishing, prehistoric herders faced a choice between total starvation or a radical new way of living. The vanishing Sahara left no room for error. This crisis provided the ultimate evolutionary push, forcing humanity to reinvent the structure of society to survive. These dying tribes migrated toward a single geographic anomaly, a 4,000-mile-long river flowing through the heart of the wasteland. Crowding into this narrow corridor made nomadic herding impossible. Survival now demanded a sedentary life, building permanent villages and learning to farm. It was a precarious existence. These people lived on a razor-thin strip of life, hemmed in on both sides by a boundless, hostile expanse. Because of this geographic bottleneck, the refugees couldn't just live near the water. They had to completely master the river's erratic behavior to ensure their own survival. Their success relied on a predictable annual miracle. Every summer, heavy rains in the distant Ethiopian highlands sent a surge of floodwater surging northward. As the flood receded, it deposited a layer of rich, dark silt. The Egyptians called this fertile zone the Black Land, a stark contrast to the red land of the surrounding desert. But relying on raw floodwater was dangerous. Farmers needed a way to strictly manage the flow, otherwise their seeds would wash away or dry out. This required a massive engineering solution known as basin irrigation. Laborers dug canals and erected earthen dikes along the floodplain to artificially trap the rising river. These dikes held the water in place for weeks, saturating the soil. Once the water drained away, the waterlogged earth provided enough nutrients to guarantee a massive agricultural surplus. Maintaining this irrigation system required the cooperation of thousands of people. It turned scattered tribes into a unified, organized workforce, laying the groundwork for a central authority. Managing regional canals meant the people needed more than just labor. They needed central planners and managers to oversee the entire network. These management networks eventually consolidated into two powerful geopolitical halves, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north. Around 3100 BC, King Narmer unified these territories, violently consolidating control over the entire river system. This political unification was not a choice, it was a logistical necessity, as a single state was the only entity capable of managing the river's complex water requirements. Once unified, the state turned the river's physical mechanics into the core functions of its administration. Officials built nilometers directly into the bedrock to measure the exact height of the annual flood. This measurement allowed the government to predict the future. Because flood height dictated crop volume, the state calculated exact tax rates before the harvest even began. During a journey called the Following of Horus, the king traveled down the river to audit these measurements and collect the wealth, which flowed back to a central treasury. This bureaucracy functioned as a calibrated machine built specifically to extract wealth from water. The river designed their economy, but its geography also shaped their psychological orientation to the world. Because the Nile flows strictly from south to north, the Egyptians inverted their mental map, placing the south at the very top of their world. Life on the Nile meant living between opposites, the life-giving silt of the river and the chaotic, destructive power of the floods. This precarious environmental tension birthed a religion obsessed with balance. The pharaoh became the essential linchpin, a divine figure whose cosmic job was to maintain that fragile equilibrium. The Greek historian Herodotus famously proclaimed that Egypt is the gift of the Nile. In reality, the Nile functioned as a demanding architect, dictating a specific blueprint for human organization. To survive the drying of the Sahara, humanity had to submit completely to the strict, unyielding rhythms of the river. That submission created one of the most stable civilizations in history, enduring for over 3,000 years. The Egyptian Empire shows that our societies do not rise from human will alone. They are shaped by the specific environments we are forced to conquer.